Would you like to live 100 years, to be 100 years old, but very strong, healthy, full of energy, self-sufficient, basically a kick-ass centenarian? If that sounds interesting, check out this video because we're gonna go A to Z in exactly how to get there. What's up everyone, this is Coach Amir from 7figurebody.com, and in today's video we're going to talk about a topic that is really near and dear to my heart and is also very relevant because just last week I was in gorgeous Utah and had a first event on the West Coast for my clients. So this was a private client mastermind event of 2 days, and we talked about this very topic, which is how to live to be 100 years old while being strong, healthy, full of energy, and fully self-sufficient. So most people don't think that that's even doable or possible. And that's why there's like, well, you know, an average person lives to be whatever average lifespan is, about 78, 79 these days, maybe 80 in Asia because people live longer there. But it's still 80 years old. It's not 100, right? And it's an interesting topic that I truly believe we can do a lot about. So a lot of this is in your hands. Of course, there are genes, there are potential accidents and things that we can't control, yes, but statistically speaking, this is probably not going to happen to you. You're not going to, can I go out today and get hit by a truck and be dead? Sure I can. But theoretically speaking, it's statistically at least, it's not going to happen, number one. Number two, even if it was to happen, we can't control it. So why wouldn't we focus on something that we can control? And by the way, vast majority of the outcomes here are truly under your control. You can do a lot about it. So first, let's talk about the three main things we can do starting right now today in order to achieve this result. So basically add years or decades to your natural lifespan. Maybe you won't get to live 100 years old, but what if you live 95 and otherwise you would live 75? Isn't that awesome to add 20 years to your natural lifespan? Well, of course it is. So because of that, that's really the reason I love this topic so much and why I wanted to give you a summary in this video. So without further ado, let's go straight into it. The number one thing, build more muscle and maintain strength of that muscle over the rest of your life. So why is this? It's because the number one predictor of longevity is muscular strength. How actually strong you are. And of course, we know that muscular size is directly correlated to muscular strength, meaning bigger muscle is always going to be a stronger muscle compared to a smaller muscle. So if you, same exact person with same genes and gender and age and everything else, same exact individual can have less muscle or more muscle. If you build more muscle, you will be stronger, whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not. You will be stronger because bigger muscle is able to produce more force and power output. On the other hand, there is a way to train the muscle to be stronger without increasing size. So for whatever reason, let's say you don't want to get physically bigger. Let's say you're an endurance athlete, or for whatever reason, you don't want to be bigger or heavier. That's still okay. It's absolutely doable to become stronger because strength is actually largely a part of or a function of your central nervous system. How strong the signal from your brain go into the muscle and how much of these muscle fibers actually fire and how much of them contract and at what level, this actually matters a lot. So this is how you can increase strength without increasing size by specifically training for that. And this is what we do in endurance sports, right? Endurance athletes are notorious for being afraid of weighing more. Oh, if I weigh 3 pounds more, I'm going to be slower. And therefore, they mostly don't do any kind of like weight training, which is a huge mistake, by the way. Because if you maintain your same weight, but increase strength, you will absolutely have a better power to weight ratio. And then you will be faster than the guy who weighs the same as you, is cardiovascularly fit as you, but is not as strong as you. This is actually a deep topic, but let's cover it for now, or let's leave it for now. Basically, what you need to do is build as much muscle as you naturally can, or a good, decent amount of it, and then maintain that strength throughout the decades. That's number one. Number two, keep your diet in check, which keeps you lean. Basically, the number one most unhealthy thing we can do, other than some kind of disease that you probably can't control anyway, but if you can, you know what I mean, right? Unless you have some actual like medical issue, the most unhealthy thing we can do is to be overweight. And then the opposite of that is one of the healthiest things we can do, which is to get your body fat percentage down to what's known as the normal range. So anywhere from 12 to 15% for men, anywhere from 20 to 25% for women. this is the body fat percentage range that your health will absolutely be optimal. Your hormones and everything else in your body is going to be at the ideal range. All the health parameters, blood pressure, triglycerides, cholesterol, everything else, blood sugar level is going to be ideal, very likely at this fat percentage ranges. 10 to, let's say 12 to 15% for men, 22 to 25% for women. So how do you do that? Mainly through your diet. Yes, you can exercise 15 hours a day, whatever, but most of us either don't want to or don't have time to do that, nor is it actually practical, because what if you work out 5 hours a day? And by the way, I was a pro triathlete, so I used to work out 6 to 8 hours a day every day. What happens when you get injured? And you can't work out 8 hours a day, but you're used to eating 7,000 calories a day to offset that, like I used to do. Right? What do? You blow up and get really, gain a lot of fat. That's the issue. So that's why I believe it's much, much better to not rely on a lot of exercise to keep those calories in check, but instead actually learn to control your diet. As you control your diet, you will absolutely get to your desired fat percentage and stay there. That's the second healthiest thing you can do to live 100 years old. Third thing is basically be active. Okay, so one of the worst things that we have found for humans is to be sedentary, which again, imagine, most of the world has some kind of office job. You sit in a car, drive there, sit there for 8 to 10 hours, drive back, come home, sit on the couch, eat chips and watch TV. That is an average person in the modern world today. Right now, of course, that's probably not you, but again, that's on average. If we look at, million people from any country, that's probably majority of what their at least work days look like. Now, that is extremely unhealthy. Now, we now have the studies that show that it's actually being sedentary is worse than smoking. So it's actually better or less bad to smoke and be active than it is to, the opposite, be sedentary and not smoke. That's how bad being sedentary is. Because of that, we want to be moving around a lot and basically doing 10,000 steps a day. That's what it comes down to. If you can have some kind of Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin, a simple pedometer that costs $10 on Amazon, whatever it is, but track your steps and see how many steps you're doing on a daily basis. Aim for 8 to 10,000 steps a day. There's now research showing that even more than that, like up to 14, 15,000 steps per day is still beneficial. Linearly increases benefits the more activity we do. And again, it's not about steps. Let's say you have bad knees. I got clients who are, oh, my knee hurts. I can't do 10,000 steps. Okay. Can you do cycling? Can you do swimming? Can you do any kind of activity that is not hard on your joints, but it's still actual activity, like you're moving around? And again, within this, the most common question I get is it better to just schedule an hour of walking a day, or is it better to schedule 3 20-minute walks a day? I would absolutely prefer that you spread it out over the day versus just having one long chunk of walking a day. Why? Because if you walk for an hour and then sit for 10 hours a day, it's better than not doing anything physically, certainly, but I would much rather you be active throughout the day. Have a standing desk, things like that. Basically not sitting for a prolonged period of time is a very, very good idea. So that's number 3. And the last fourth thing, which is kind of like, we can't separate it from the others, is the cardio part. Now, within cardio, we have two things like big, there's a lot to this, but let's simplify it and say there's just 2 levels. There's building your aerobic base, which is a lower intensity cardio, such as if you and I were jogging right now and we can still maintain some kind of conversation while jogging, that would be the aerobic level, the lower level of intensity. You need to do a minimum of 1 hour of this per week, ideally up to 3 hours per week, or maybe even more if you want to be that highest elite level. And then in that case, you're going to have the highest reduction of all-cause mortality, right? So basically, the more cardio fit you are, the better and your health is and longer you will live. So in this case, this is a relatively easy 1 to 3 hours per week of any activity you do. It can be running, swimming, cycling, anything you want. It doesn't really matter, even though you guys know I'm not a fan of running because it pounds on your joints too much. And much, much healthier and better for your joints long-term is to do cycling or swimming or some kind of rowing or some kind of thing that is not impact-based like running is. Okay. Now, of course, runners be like, oh my God, blasphemy. That is horrible. I will never stop running. That's cool. Keep doing what you like. It's okay. But remember, we should include both of these. Lower level of activity, 1 to 3 hours a week, and then at least one higher intensity cardio session, which is known as VO2 max, because VO2 max level is what we use to actually determine how cardio fit somebody is. And by the way, going from very low VO2 max, so let's say below average, to average is literally 50% reduction in all-cause mortality. 50% just from going to very unfit to average fit cardio-wise. By the way, what does it take to get there? 1 hour per week of that base and maybe half an hour of one higher intensity cardio, which ideally for that, it would be doing an actual VO2 max training session, which basically, what is VO2 max? It is a consistent all-out maximum effort for 4 minutes. That's about your VO2 max. So knowing that, now you know that the best way to train that is simply to be using, again, please don't, if you're completely unfit and have been a long time since you've done some exercise, don't go right into this and start doing this. Please consult with your doctor before you're cleared for exercise, yada, yada. You know all the drills, right? But essentially, go easy into it. Like first do aerobic. If you can't run for an hour, run for 10 minutes. Eventually, you're gonna be run 15 minutes or bike or whatever it is. Increase that length of time. And then eventually, once you have 2 or 3 months or a few weeks at least of training that under your belt and you're getting better, then you can actually include a higher intensity cardio session. This VO2 max session does not have to start at 4 minutes because that's very, very hard. What you should start is 20 to 30 seconds of really high intensity and then maybe 1 minute of kind of jogging or just chilling, right? And then repeat that several times. Eventually, when you get fit enough, you can do VO2 max sessions, which is basically all out effort or close to that for 4 minutes, and then 3 to 4 minutes of very low intensity, just walking around or jogging or maybe even full rest. And then repeat that 2 to 4 times. That whole session would be like half an hour total, and 1 week is more than enough to get that base level. Now, if you want to be, at the high level or, or like elite level at VO2 max, you're probably going to be doing 2 of these sessions per week forever. So guys, without further ado, this is basically the protocol of what you need to do to be the strong, healthy, high energy, completely self-sufficient, fully functional, kick-ass centenarian and live to be 100 years old. Now, if you like this video, please click the subscribe button and like the video as well and click thumbs up. This helps the algorithm so more entrepreneurs can see this video and it helps us grow. So thank you for that. We've been growing really at exponential rate in the last couple of weeks. So guys, thank you again. I really, really appreciate and love you all for that. Thank you. So please click that subscribe button. Any questions you have about this, please put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Cheers.